You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
So I think I need to stop starting episodes if so, but I need to apologize for the last episode. My audio was really quiet. That was more my end. I wasn't sitting close enough to the mic, so I have to apologize off the bat. As the kind of person that I am, it's only right that I apologize. And I wanted to start this episode with, "Hey Charlie, how you doing? I know you're not working at the moment, so what are you doing at the moment? You know, what is a regular day for Charlie?" However, Charlie is 25 minutes late this week. Now, not only is Charlie 25 minutes late this week, Charlie messaged me during the day to say, "Are we still okay for our usual time?" I said yes. And then a couple of hours beforehand, he was like, "I need to push it back an hour." That's all good. So even after saying he needs an hour delay, this guy was still late. Now notice, I started this episode with an apology to our fans for being quiet the last episode. Charlie himself said that he couldn't listen to the whole thing. My friend Tom messaged me to say that, you know, what's wrong with your mic? I've explained that away. I've apologized. Hey, Charlie, how are you doing?
I apologize, Kadeem. Listen, like the fact that you on London time and I turned this thing into a primetime episode for a primetime podcast, I apologize. Like I don't wish that on you, for real. I really don't. So I appreciate that. I feel like if you never bring it up, I won't have to apologize to the fans because it's not like we live. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, y'all get it when y'all get it. But I feel like, yeah, man. So I apologize for that, man. I don't you know, there's two things I absolutely hate, Kadeem. I hate waiting on people, and I hate people waiting on me. Like, I really do. So whether, and this is in all facets of life, whether I'm at a light or like, you know, I might be turning in traffic. I hate when I have to wait, when people have to wait behind me, and I get like kind of anxiety, and vice versa. Or if there's a certain time I'm supposed to be somewhere, I like to be on time. I'm punctual for the most part. I know with the podcast I haven't been, but I really hate when people have to wait on me because, you know, it's professional. You're a man of your word. You want to be on time, and I hate when I have to wait on people.
Oh, I hate being late. I hate people being late on me, but I also think that you kind of get to a point with some people where your relationship kind of, like, I know it's not personal. I know you're not out here playing Call of Duty or, you know, playing someone on Madden, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, let's get one game in. Kadeem can wait. I know it's never that. Never. And the reason I wanted to ask, you know, what you get up to at the moment is more just out of interest, because obviously we speak about Dolphins and other kind of stuff, but because of your work schedule and you work so intensely, I'm genuinely interested to know what you're doing at the moment in terms of just, you know, killing time, I guess.
Everyday life, right?
Yeah.
All right. So it's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm Charlie Touche. I got my co-host Kadeem Simmons with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Everyday life for our new listeners, you probably caught on in the setting that I'm in right now. I got a little apartment, you feel me, in South Florida, and I'm born and raised down here. So if you've been a fan of a podcast and a loyal listener, you used to see me travel a lot, often. Like every 6 months, I was in a different hotel, different location, and that was because of work. I work on the road, in like the basically industrial engineering industry. right? So usually I'm out on an assignment for 6 months, 8 months, 3 months at a time. And that's why you see my background change a lot. But lately, I've been home. I've been chilling. So the question that Kadeem asks is, well, since you home and you're not really working, what do you do? Right? That's a fair question, Kadeem. I'm glad you kind of asked it. So for those who don't know, the Go Time intro is a song that I made because I also make music with my free time. So when I'm home, I turn my attention to music, stuff for the podcast, this podcast, and also I have a company that I've started for myself. Not really gonna say what it is or what I do yet, but it's a something that I that has all of my time, and my time usually goes to one of those three things, or I'm in the gym, just straight up, trying to get right, trying to get fit, just stay healthy mind, healthy body, healthy spirit, and I think all that's what my day looks like.
Yeah, it's because again, we are very much different people in terms of on my days off and I'm not working, I'm playing video games. I'm such a video game person, and obviously I don't work as intensely as you, but my hours are so late, I guess, that I'm very much. I can like my days off really are just me chilling because as I'm back at my mum's now, so I'm finding that during the day everyone's working, everyone's busy, and then what everyone's getting ready to settle down for the evening, have dinner. That's when I start work. So it's a very like odd dynamic to be in this house, but it is what it is. And yeah, like I said, I'm a Call of Duty person, a Madden person. So to any of our listeners who want to jump on the sticks, I've still got to play Share Wild Steve. But if you want to just chill, vibe, and chat Dolphins, just hit me up. Via the Go Time Dolphins Twitter account, via my own Twitter account at Kadeem Simmons. And then very quickly before we kind of really deep dive into this latest episode, to those who have, I guess, answered the Javon Holland giveaway question so far, thank you very much. For those who are kind of on the fence about, I'm not quite sure if I should do this or not because I might not win, you have nothing to lose. It doesn't cost you a single thing. So I'm sure Charlie at some point in this episode will come back and say, well, here's what you got to do, but I'll also do it. Also, first of all, shout out to friend of the podcast, Javon Holland. It was his birthday, I believe, yesterday. And I believe it is Tua's birthday today as we're recording. Quick question. Is it okay to call to a friend of the podcast, given that I've interviewed him, but it wasn't on the podcast? You're on mute, dude.
My bad. The reason why I don't think we could do that is because it'll water down the other friends of the podcast. Because then when people hear friend of the podcast, they're going to think, oh, well, they're not really friends of the podcast. He just talked to him once. You see what I'm saying? So I prefer we keep it to the people who came on the podcast, or cool, who rock with the podcast for real, our friends of the podcast.
Yeah, that's cool. But yes, as I was saying, so the birthday boy Javon Holland giveaway, some autograph cleats. As I'm saying this, I really should get those cleats up on screen. So for those who haven't seen them yet, that'd be really helpful. But it's yeah, you want to go back and listen to the last 3 to 4 episodes. We have that's not the image. We have oh no, this is awful. Kadeem, what are you doing? This is why I don't talk and do stuff. I'm not gonna let you talk, Charlie. As I was saying, so it's go back and listen to the last 3 to 4 episodes. We have a question in each of those episodes, 3 questions in total. We want the answer to those 3 questions, as well as a screenshot of proof of you having subscribed to the Go Time Dolphins podcast over on YouTube. Once you have those 3 questions answered, as well as the screenshot, message us on Instagram, social media, Instagram, Twitter, or our email address at gotimedolphins@gmail.com. And yeah, look forward to hearing from you. But I've spoken enough for now. Charlie, there you go.
Since we're doing housekeeping and we're talking about friends of the podcast, I just sent you something, Kadeem. Share it with everybody. I haven't shared it with you, so let's get your reaction as you share it with everyone.
Oh, this is going to be so. This guy.
Share it, bro. You gotta share it, bro.
Yeah, let me get to it first.
All right. So listen. Kadeem set me up with the alley-oop and he didn't even know it. So as Kadeem is asking me questions about what I do in my daily life and everyday life, like, oh, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, apparently I run into Dolphin players all the time. And since Kadeem was talking about friends of the podcast, if you're listening to the audio version, check out the YouTube version when you get a chance. Go on YouTube. We got a picture up. And again, if you're listening to the audio version, check us out on YouTube at Go Time Dolphins, and you're going to see a picture we just put up. We got a new friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, Airplane Jones, number 29. That boy, the second half of the, or I should just say half of the duo of the basically the best safety tandem in the league, Javon Holland and Brandon Jones. Man, I'm driving on the way to get my hair cut today. As you can tell, this is before I cut my hair in the picture. So I'm on the way to the barber shop to get a cut. And I see Brandon Jones. I'm like, no way. So I had to bust a U-turn, right? I'm probably
no. I was gonna say, so you're driving like a quick turn, like some GTA driving. You knocked over 2 old ladies. One kid's already flying in the air, but you got.
Yeah, so I don't want to say it looked like GTA, but it may have looked like GTA. No, I'm playing. I don't want to put my fanboy, my fandom out there, but man, I had bust a U-turn. I'm like, man, dog gonna think I'm crazy out here, man. But shout out to a new friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones. It's funny because, you know, we're in South Florida. You run into celebrities all the time. You run into athletes all the time. Everyone knows I make music, and I've done songs with a gang of people. I wrote songs for a gang of artists, celebrities, and famous people. So I'm really not starstruck. But this time I was excited to see this man, bro. Like I kind of, you remember I said, yo, I don't really fanboy like that. I was kind of excited to see, dog. So yeah, man. Shout out to Brandon Jones, man. New friend of the podcast. What's up, Kadeem?
You don't know how close I have been to buying a Brandon Jones jersey. I'm not going to, because I saw your face. I'm not going to, but if I was ever allowed to buy a player jersey again, he's up there. He is 100% up there. He would have been who I would have got in his rookie year. But see, if you're late because you're taking pictures with Brandon Jones, dude, I'm cool with that. Tell me, like, you know, or like if anything, FaceTime me. I'm like, yo, what's good? No, that's. I think we had a conversation about, you know, you perhaps moving to London, and you was like, no, I said move to London, and you was like, move to Miami. I need to move. I need to move literally where you are, literally like that exact area, that exact road, that exact street. That's what I need to be. I can't be like in another part of Miami or South Florida. That's just not going to work. So, dude, and it's funny as well because I posted a picture of me with DJ Chark, who Miami fans, you know, won in Miami. So, and then like within days of me posting that, I get betted already. So I see how it is. Thanks for that. Thanks.
I'm just saying. Hey, I seen the pic by the way with you and Chark. Again, you just get a vibe for what the locker room feel like when you run into these guys. But yeah, man, new friend of the podcast. Let's get into the actual podcast now, I guess. Combine, The combine is a real thing. 2022 NFL combine is out here, and we got some audio, we got some quotes from head coach Mike McDaniel. We got Chris Grier quotes. Conveniently not in front of a camera on a microphone, so he don't have to answer other questions. Shout out to Chris Grier. He Mike Vicking his way out of this thing. Shout out to you. Which of the quotes, the latest quotes, caught your attention, Kadeem?
There was 2 quotes, one from McDaniel, one from Chris Grier, and they kind of play into each other. Both were surrounding Tua, but only one mentioned Tua. So the Mike McDaniel one talking about, I think it's important that you empower the quarterback with the players around him and the scheme that you bring forth, and then going on to say that Tua has a bunch of untapped potential, and kind of saying that having a coaching staff, a team who believe in you makes a massive difference. And then Chris Grier, I guess, finally going on record and saying, yeah, we're not going after Deshaun Watson. I know there will be people who will be like, Tua needs to grow up, just because Brian Flores and Chris Grier never said that they was going after Watson, all that kind of stuff. He needs to play through it. But it makes a massive difference when the people around you believe in you. The person who you call boss actually wants you in the building. Before I get your real take on, that, and we kind of really delve into that, have you heard, I can't remember the exact player it was, but Mike McDaniel interviewing one of the interviews spoke about obscure 90s hip-hop quotes.
No, I haven't.
So it's going to really bug me. While I try and find the player he spoke to, if you want to give your take on, I guess, the quote you want to talk about, or the quote I just adjust, I guess.
Woo. I think Chris Grier had good intentions, and he tried to. All right, we didn't get it right with Tua during the season, and then when they asked him, "Do you think Tua can be an elite quarterback in the league?" He kind of fumbled it, couldn't really shake his way out of that one. What he said,
so I don't think he can't be, or something.
I don't think he can't be, right? Okay, right, okay, whatever that means. So I think he tried, and I think he had good intentions. Like, you have good intentions when you say, "Oh, he tried to help the O-line," like, that's not good enough, bro. But nah, man, that's not even my most interesting quote. But we'll stay on Chris Grier talking about he closed the door on Deshaun Watson. The same Deshaun Watson 2 years ago I said will not play for the Miami Dolphins ever. The same Deshaun Watson that everybody came at my dome about. Bro, I got texts in my phone. I got inbox DMs talking about I hated Deshaun Watson and I don't know what I'm talking about. And sources already told me it's a done deal. All kind of stuff. Oh, he's already coming. All this stuff. Okay. Never wavered. Not for a second. Not for one bit. He's not coming, bro. He's not coming. And we just got to wait for when he goes to Philly or Carolina. So I could really just sit here and be like, y'all could have tuned into the podcast 2 years ago and I told you what was going to happen. So that's where we are now. You got what you was looking for, Kadeem?
Yeah, it was Treylon Burks. So Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas, said that he met with the Dolphins, and he described the meeting as weird. But it was weird because Mike McDaniel wasn't asking him about obscure 90s hip hop and rap references. That's why it was weird. And it was interesting because, do you remember when Tua met with Brian Flores? And he was like, I got the impression that the guy didn't like me. And everyone was like, no, it's nothing.
Yo.
See? So there was that. There was another one. This one doesn't have the... I guess this one doesn't come from the horse's mouth itself. But there's a developing rumor at the combine, which is Mike McDaniel approached Breece Hall, the running back, and basically who initiated the dialogue by saying, "You have to call me Dragon," to which McDaniel responded by saying, "You have to call me Nighthawk." What's that reference from?
I ain't got it.
Step Brothers. You ever seen Step Brothers?
I made a new best friend. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone's saying like, did they just become best friends? And again, it's something, you know, we both said we'll kind of wait and see what Mike McDaniel is going to bring to the Miami Dolphins. But we both also said that after that first press conference, he's just a massive nerd. And from what we're hearing about him, you know, he's just a massive nerd. He's the kind of coach who players are going to love because he's going to understand them. He's going to get them all on side. You know, some people call it really cheesy. You know, the whole, he might have his own handshakes with them, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to say you're more likely to play for someone like that, but you're going to respect someone like that who can, you know, understand you as a human being, but as a player as well. Because these guys are humans first. They're athletes, they're players, but they're human beings. So if you've got these little in-jokes with all these players and stuff like that, then yeah, these guys are going to love you. So that's just a bit of fun. But what did you make of him talking about empowering Tua and, you know, I guess building a team around him?
I think the last time I put the sweater on, I wasn't in the gym. This thing hugging me kind of tight, boy. Like I feel like it's kind of poking. So I'm like, Charlie, what do you do when you're free time? Well, I be in the gym, Kadeem, something you might not never know about. You see that? Yeah, I see that.
Did you hurt yourself?
No, I didn't hurt myself.
Okay, cool. Give it time.
What's the question you asked, bro?
If you weren't so vain and checking yourself out as I'm talking here, then maybe you would have heard what I said. Basically, what do you make of Mike McDaniel saying that it's important that you empower the quarterback and basically build a team around Tua?
Mike McDaniel is betting on himself. Matter of fact, that might be the theme of this podcast. Bet on yourself. And the reason why I say he's betting on himself is because he's worked with how many quarterbacks that had their best season? 5, maybe, about something like that. It's 4 or 5. And if you just look at the scheme, the onus is not on the quarterback. Just look at it. The onus is not on the quarterback. So to have Tua, and actually, I'm gonna answer your question and go into the next one. To have Tua surrounded by, you know, talent. You know what? You just set me up. You set me up because now I could tell you what Todd McShay brought to my attention. When the Eagles won their Super Bowl, you know, most recent past couple of years, Eagles won their Super Bowl. The Eagles had the best O-line in the NFL. Go figure. The best O-line in the NFL. For everyone saying, oh, look at the quarterback for the Eagles. Well, look at the O-line for the Eagles. So for everyone saying Tua's not it, get them an O-line and we'll still be straight. Either way, it's a win-win for everybody. Just get the O-line, protect them. You know, I got a quote in here somewhere from Hall of Famer Bill Polian. Bill Polian, general manager, 32 years in the NFL, 13 division titles, 5 Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl champion, GM, Bill Polian, Hall of Famer. Quote, protect the quarterback, find them weapons. This is a Hall of Fame GM. Protect the quarterback, find them weapons. 5 Super Bowl appearances. Protect the quarterback, find them weapons. Hall of Famer. Bro, protect the quarterback, find them weapons. So Mike McDaniel knows, like, look, I know what I've worked with in the past, and I know what Tua has. I'm excited to work with this dude. I like it. I'm going to bet on myself and watch what we do.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of goes back to why wouldn't you want to build a team that way? Why wouldn't you want to maximize the talent that you have, which is something that you know, Mike McDaniel has been talking about. Like I think at one point that he was asked, "Would you want another Debo Samuel in Miami?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'd love a 4-time All Pro." And again, it's like there's all these little jokes, all these little things. And yeah, I guess it's just a matter of you know this. I think at the end of the season, if Tua doesn't succeed in Miami, you can at least this year turn around and go, it would be on him because everything I say right now, given the way things are trending, if they improve the offensive line, if they bring in multiple weapons, then yeah, you can turn around and go, this is on Tua. Tua had what he needed to succeed. And something we've said before, it's not about giving him the best offensive line. That would be amazing. But the flip side to that is give him a mediocre one. Give him one that's 27, not 32nd. So, dude, you're making me thirsty. I haven't got a drink.
27, not mediocre, but I'll take 27 too.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like, the Dolphins' offensive line was so bad this season that if we get 27, that's an improvement. I'm not saying that I'm setting for 27, but that's an improvement.
Yeah, like we was 32nd. We could have been 50th if there's 49 other teams. So 32nd, who knows the gap between 32 and 31. So theme of the podcast, bet on yourself. Chris Grier is betting on himself. And this is why. Last episode, we talked about potential signings and trade candidates. And it has come out that Emmanuel Ogbah may not be a priority, but he is an interest in coming back to the team. The Dolphins want him back, obviously for the right price, but he's not high up on the priority list. Xavier Howard they're talking about extending him, not restructuring, extending him. So, extending Xavier Howard, bringing back Emmanuel Ogbah, 5th-year option to Christian Wilkins.
My boy, Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, that's your boy. You can have him. You want to get his jersey?
No, because I want to keep him.
Okay, so
he's a top 10 defensive interior lineman in the league. I want to keep that. So
the reason why I say Chris Grier is betting on himself is because when you keep all these pieces together, you're saying we're really not that far. We like what we have. We like the nucleus. Which the nucleus is pretty cool on defense. There's no nucleus at all on offense. There's no nucleus. So for Chris Grier to say, I want to keep all these pieces intact, I'm just going to add on. And then he had the quote, and we're going to be aggressive in free agency. If you guys remember when Chris Grier's first year with full control in the press conference with Steve Ross, he said, we're going to be aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So, and then he ended up trading all kind of trades and back and forth and 3 picks in the first round, traded up for Waddle in free agency last season. And now he's saying we're going to be aggressive in free agency this season. So Chris Grier betting on himself too. Like, man, look, this is the hand I have. And I want a ring too, regardless of who's on this team. Like I got to make the best team there is.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously people are saying that there still hasn't been any franchise tag for Mike Gesicki, but at the same time, that could be something in which you go down to the last minute. You know, they're going to see if they can get a long-term deal. This is not me saying this is happening, just what I think could be happening. They could be trying to get a long-term deal together, and it's like, okay, we can't get one, but what we will do is we will franchise tag you in the faith that you are going to, or we are going to keep on working to get a deal, basically. So again, we'll see how that plays out. But no, yeah, it's just the Dolphins, I guess, are winning the off season, which is something they do quite a lot. It doesn't normally translate to wins during the regular season, the last 2 years, obviously, we had back-to-back winning seasons. It hasn't resulted in a player for appearance. But it'd be great if this year we can kind of tie it all together, you know, a good off season, including the draft, free agency, a good regular season, and then cap it off with a playoff win. Playoff win times 2, playoff win times 3, then Super Bowl appearance. And they win Super Bowl.
You know, we ended up one game out of the playoffs this year. One game out of the playoffs the year before that. Yeah. I got you, Kadeem. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let you talk. You just let me get there. I'll get there. I promise. I'll get there when I get there. You know what I'm saying? Mike McDaniel, quote, I have no problem, no hesitation, no concern if Mike being able to contribute as a blocker. Well, that's the quote. But what he's saying is, I'm not worried about Mike contributing as a blocker. And then he goes on to say, pass catching tight ends are going to need to block, and blocking tight ends are going to need to catch. Again, he just reiterates that he's going to maximize Mike's potential for what it is. Like, yo, I know what we got at Mike, and I know how to get what I need out of him. I trust Mike McDaniel. He's still the most intriguing thing out there. Before we hired him, I'm like, man, he's pretty intriguing. So I'm in on Geek Squad. I told you, man. I was a nerd once upon a time. Sometimes I still nerd out. I really do. Y'all just don't know it.
It was interesting that Chris Grier kind of confirmed that the Dolphins went after Sean Payton. I found that quite interesting. Obviously, nothing came of it. Sean Payton ended up retiring, but Chris Grier was like, "Yeah, we were going to make a play for Sean Payton," and the Saints were like, "Nope." And then obviously Payton ended up leaving. So yeah, it's the Dolphins clearly. I'm not going to say that Mike McDaniel wasn't their first choice because you don't know how these things play out. And again, we both said on this podcast, and I'm sure Shea Steve said as well, the Dolphins had to go after Sean Payton. They had to, you know.
Got to.
So it didn't work, but at least you could, I guess, go to sleep and say, we made an attempt at it, as opposed to not doing it, and then he ends up going to the Cowboys or somewhere else. It's like, you know, we never even tried, I guess. So, yeah, it's interesting. You spoke about, you know, betting on yourself and Chris Grier betting on himself, and had a short conversation with Ricky Watson on social media. Shout out to Ricky Watson.
Shout out to Ricky Watson, my dog.
We was kind of talking about the Dolphins, or there's a lot of people on social media saying that they don't want the Dolphins to draft offensive linemen because they're sick and tired of draft defensive linemen and not working out. They kind of want to go through the free agency or trade, you know, bringing some proven veteran talent.
Defensive lineman?
Offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman, okay.
Yeah. And I kind of fit back and saying, while that will be good, you know, if we bring in some free agents, you know, make some trades, let's not forget that the Dolphins have been bad at evaluating offensive linemen, both veterans and rookies. Because again, like we said this season, the guys we let go in pre-season who ended up, you know, Isaiah Prince was in the Super Bowl, you know, others were great guards and tackles for other teams. The Dolphins have shown over the past few years that they just can't evaluate and coach offensive linemen. But like I said before, hopefully these new guys come in and that is no longer the case. So I know we speak offensive line a lot, and this isn't me saying would you rather have, you know, one or the other, but would you be, I'm not going to say what's the best way to word this question? Do you subscribe to the thought of the Dolphins can't draft offensive linemen this year? It had to be free agency. Okay, or can they do both?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond but across the world. Charlie Touche, Kadeem Simmons, talking Dolphins football. No, I don't. I subscribe to the belief or to the thought that you have to, by any means necessary, you double dip this time. We're post-COVID, we could start double dipping chips again. Hey, don't double dip chips at my party. I'm just saying.
Don't ever double. Listen, pre or post COVID, don't ever double dip chips. If you're the guy that double dip chips, stay at home and double dip by yourself. What kind of nasty human being double? And listen as well, like there'll be the kind of guys that like I don't even have anything with me, but like they like dip the chip, eat it, like, and then really get in. I'm like, you get in the like, dude. What are you doing?
The finger hits the dip.
Yeah, like didn't even wash your hands when you went toilet. Like, no, nah, man. Like, again, that's why if I see someone double dipping the chip, I'm not having that no more. Because I don't even know if you wash your hands when you went pee. If I can't trust that, I ain't trying to get no pee dip in my mouth. Nah,
come on, you gotta be so graphic, bro. This guy, bro. You finished? You done?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So look, yeah, man. I say we double dip. I'm by all means necessary. Like, do what you have to do. And you know you haven't been getting it right. So this is what I do. I go into free agency to try to find the best tackle possible. I think Orlando Brown is going to get tagged or extended because they spent a first round pick, I believe, to get him.
Yeah.
So they're going to tag him or sign him. If Orlando Brown hits the market, then you have this conversation with Orlando Brown. Hey, I understand that you wanted to play left tackle instead of right tackle, but if we pay you like a left tackle to play right tackle, are you interested? And if he says yes, then you back up the Brinks truck. Only if we had drops. So
yeah, I was gonna say you working that drop. I've got my little
Hey, Kadeem hit that drop so much.
Thank you for being my friend when I needed one.
That's my range of drops. You need to come with some more.
Bruh, dog gonna mess up the button on them 2 drops, bro. So yeah, man. So you double dip this time. If you can't get Orlando Brown, then you go with the next best option at right tackle, which I believe is Trent Brown at right tackle. So now you get Trent Brown at right tackle, and then you draft a right tackle. The hope is your right tackle is your franchise right tackle, but you did not want to go into the draft not having a right tackle at all. So if it's me, I'm double dipping. I'm getting a right tackle in free agency, and then I'm getting a right tackle in the draft. But do not fret, because once upon a time, the Dolphins could not draft D linemen either. And what have we done with the past few D linemen? Raekwon Davis, Christian Wilkins, Jalen Phillips. I mean, we'll get it right eventually. Y'all remember them? Y'all remember the Charles Harris days? Y'all remember the Deion Jordan days? You feel me? Like, come on, man. You gotta shoot. Keep shooting. Shout out my dog Judex. X-Man, not the next man. FedEx, I call him. So yeah, man, keep shooting. What you trying to do?
Yeah, like you can never have too much depth, I guess. And again, listen, I don't want to beat on Miami Dolphin players because you don't get the NFL being bad, let's be honest. But if you bring in a center with me and right tackle in free agency, and then at 29 there's an amazing player there and he plays center and he's the best guy on your board, then yeah, you pick him up 100%. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Also, very quickly, you've seen me kind of looking to my left. I have the combine on right now, so as we're recording, the quarterbacks are doing their 40, and this looks like a really bad quarterback class. Oh, and Dan Marino's on the screen. Shout out Dan the man. Yeah, that's funny how we're talking, Dolphins and Dan Marino's on the screen. But no. Yeah, I'm definitely double dipping offensive lineman and kind of saying we go from there. You guys in training camp, battle it out, and we'll put the best 5 out there.
Center wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. So is there anything inside of you, Kadeem, that says run it back with the same O-line and let's get pieces for other positions. Like, let's go all in on receiver, all in on linebacker, all in on running back, and we'll find an O-lineman somewhere later on in the draft if we do. Like, does Eichenberg at right tackle, Austin Jackson at left tackle, Ken Lee at left guard intrigue you? Or interest you is his word. Does it interest you?
It's like what I said on the last episode. I'm going back and listen to it, where I was like, if this coaching staff genuinely believe that from looking at, college tape, game tape, practice tape, what they saw last year, if they see those guys and say, okay, we can work with what's happening, we can see that in practice they were basically coached the wrong way, and they are genuine believers in those 5 guys you said, I'd be disappointed. But I've already said I'm going to wait and see what this coaching staff does, and if that's what they do, I can't be angry, especially when that would be the offensive line I probably would have started last year. So obviously 12 months is a long time and things change. It's difficult because obviously I'll be angry. I'll be like, really? Like, you're trying to get this guy broken ribs again. But at the same time, you've got a different right tackle.
With your boy. Your boy Eichenberg would be at right tackle. That's your man's.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to get a jersey, but Ed, my man's. And no, when you said the same offensive lineman, I was like, if you put out that final week offensive line with Robert Jones at right tackle, I'd be more intrigued than that, because I thought Robert Jones had a good game on week 18.
A good game, bro? I'm gonna spare you, because I ain't even gonna kill you for this one. Like,
you don't think Robert Jones?
Robert Jones undrafted, right? Or did we get him in the 6th round?
No, I think he was undrafted.
We paid him like to come to camp with us, bro. Larnell Coleman was the late O-lineman we drafted, bro. Robert Jones might pan out to be something, but I'm not risking it on prove it or lose it year. We don't have the luxury to start Robert Jones at right tackle. Oh, he's nicer than what we thought. I don't know, because free agency and the draft is before these boys come back to camp. So anyway, Javon Holland giveaway. We have said all the questions. If you missed them, you have to go back to the previous episodes to find out what the 3 questions are and how you can win the Javon Holland autographed cleats. These things are so clean. Listen, I was just going to put them in a case and keep them for myself. So, yeah. Find out how to win the Javon Holland cleats, autographed cleats, by listening to the previous episodes. You want to do Josh Boyer, Kadeem, that we never got to that one episode?
I was going to say that for bonus time.
Cool. We can get into that right now then. Y'all know what time it is. Kadeem Simmons is not going to mess up the outro today. Your handsome co-host will take this thing on cruise control. Y'all stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
I love you to blame me for stuff. Like, again, sometimes own your own mistakes. If you mess up, be like, yeah, I messed up. When I mess up, I'm like, you know what? That was on me. I messed up. But all of a sudden, it's like, you messed up the outro, and somehow it's my fault. Despite the fact
you worked on it, though.
And like I said last episode, you're not always going to get a clean look at the room. You're not always going to have a clean pocket. Don't be that guy. Be like, oh, the the reason on 4th and 1 thing on the goal line, the reason I threw it into the stands was because I felt some pressure on, on my right hand side. Like, no, make a play. You're the host. Listen, if everything's burning around you, you have to persevere and do your job. That's again, when you went down injured, I persevered. I done a solo episode. I didn't be like, you know what? Actually, Charlie's not around, so no. I persevered. I put on my big boy pants. I was like, I got this, and I recorded an episode. I'm just saying.
Shout out to new friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones.
What's he like?
Bro, listen, man. I'm going to say it again. You know what? Just like you said, I appreciate what you said, too, about my work ethic. For those who don't know, I work 84 hours a week. That's 12 hours a day, 7 days a week when I'm on the road. Sometimes more hours than that. But, I know what I signed up for. So I've been doing it for a long time, years. I'm not even going to put the number on the years, but I've been doing it a long time. And when I come home, I kind of have the same work ethic, but for my interest now, for my company, for the podcast, for music, for things that I love to do. So I appreciate that you said that. So when I run into like by happenstance, run into athletes or celebrities, when I made music, Kadeem, I'm gonna put some artists out there. I don't think I ever really said some of the artists I work with, right? Rick Ross, Jason Derulo, Iggy, So Fancy, shout out to Iggy, Yin Yang Twins, Yin Yang get his thing, Fabo, that's I don't even know, Pitbull, Mr. 305, some I won't mention because I'm not allowed to mention. You know what I'm saying? But I work with a lot of artists. Is
that your way of saying that you ghostwrite for Drake?
So when I run into when I run into football players, it's a little different. It's like I kind of want to let them know, I appreciate you. Because as a fan, fans always ask for something. And I don't ever want to ask for anything. Like I just want to say, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see you. First time I ran into Robert Hunt, he's like, man, you recognize me? He was like, me? I'm like, yes, you, bro. You Robert Hunt, right? He's like, yeah. And he had a big cheese smile. I'm like, yeah, man, I just want to tell you, you do your thing, but I appreciate you. I know it's not the best right now because I think we just lost that game when I seen him. I'm like, I just want to tell you I appreciate you. I didn't even get a pic. I forgot about the picture thing. You know what I'm saying? Because the real me is not worried about stuff like that. I just, you know what I'm saying? But we have a podcast. You know what I'm saying? The Charlie Touche from the podcast has to remember, man, let me get a picture with this dude. Now I got to ask him for a picture. Hey, come chop it up with us. You know what I'm saying? Then a couple of them come chop it up with us. So it's not my, I guess I don't want to say lame, but it's not something that I'm used to doing. But today, again, when I ran into Brandon Jones, bro, another cool dude. And you can Bill Parcells was huge on picking players. Like you just don't, you get the best players, but you just don't compromise the locker room with someone who won't mesh with the chemistry of the locker room. And all these boys, gang of dudes, Jared Dokes, Trill Williams, Brandon Jones, Javon Holland, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson. Super cool. Shout out to, man, Myles Gaskin went out of his way for us. You know what I'm saying? 40 acres and a Hellcat will always be my dog. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure I left some people out, but there's a lot of people that rock with us actually that are not officially friends of the podcast, but eventually we'll get them to officially become friends of the podcast. They rock with us, man. Hey, this is Go Time Dolphins, man. The Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. Charlie Touche, Kadeem Simmons, we always gonna give it to him. Already.
Very quickly, Chris Olave just ran a 4.26. Like that.
Olave,
sorry, yeah. I must have Olave. I always thought it was Olave. But yeah, 4.26. Like, he's pretty quick. But yeah, as you mentioned,
and he plays quick too. He
yeah,
plays fast.
he's
He
gonna be
just worked his way up into the top 34 for sure now.
That's a really obscure number. Why 34?
Because he was already dancing around first round, and if he didn't make the first round, he was going to make like early second. But if you run a 4.2 and you play that fast, and he has hands, and he's a dope receiver, he's going to go top 34 now. Someone's going to bite. Not necessarily myself, but one of them teams will bite. I still have, and this is, I can't put Chris Olave on Tuesdays 24. For those who don't know what Tuesdays 24 is, I picked 24 prospects coming out in the draft that are under the radar that could become household names that I think are super dope and have the potential to have great careers in the NFL. Chris Olave is not under the radar, so he won't be on my list. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I think there are people on my list that should be in front of Chris Olave. So at 4.2 or not, I like y'all see what my list is when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely look forward to that one. But yeah, we never got round to the Josh Boyer stuff. It kind of came up at the end of one episode, and we never came back to it. That's our fault for having so much to talk about and not, doing a good enough job of saying, by the way, we must discuss this. But again, for those who don't know, missed it, wasn't aware, when Mike McDaniel kept Josh Boyer as the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins this season, during the press conferences, Josh Boyer was like, yeah, I called the plays in 2021 and I called the plays in 2020. And the reason why that's interesting is because we was under the impression that at least last season, so the 2021 season, halfway through the season, when the Dolphins turned it around, that's because Brian Flores basically started calling the defense again. And Josh Boyer basically saying that's not true. I called the defense the entire time. What I also said at the time, though, was interesting because Gerald Alexander, who has since left the Dolphins, his wife basically went on Twitter and was like, the reason this defense turned around, people aren't talking about my husband. And she kind of implied that her husband had a massive say in, the defense getting back to where it was. Now, that's not to say that that isn't true. And people will point out and say, we definitely saw Brian Flores with a play call sheet. So maybe it was a situation like in San Francisco where we didn't realize that Mike McDaniel was calling the plays because obviously Kyle Shanahan had a play call sheet. Perhaps. So but the way it worked in San Francisco was Mike McDaniel will call the plays, and unless Shanahan was like, we must do this, he let it go. Perhaps that was happening in Miami. Josh Boyer was calling the plays, and Brian Flores having a play call sheet and calling the plays for what it looked like was him just going, yeah, I'm cool with that. All good. Keep going. But what did you make of that? I don't want to use the word bombshell with what's going on in Ukraine right now, but that revelation, I should say.
Revelation is a good word. Bro, let me read what Barry Jackson said. This is per Barry Jackson's Twitter. Josh Boyer confirms, as I reported previously, that he called defensive plays every game last season. Yeah. So, bro, listen. You got to listen to the words. He called defensive plays every game last season. Doesn't mean he called the defense every game. Doesn't mean he called all the plays in the defense of every game. He called defensive plays every game last season. In every game last season. So I think I am still under the impression that Brian Flores and Josh Boyer were a partnership on the defense, calling plays together. It's like a road trip. Anybody who went on a road trip, that was 20 hours or something, you got somebody riding with you. You take the wheel, he take the wheel. You take the wheel, they take the wheel. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a partnership. Same thing with the offensive coordinator situation in KC. So yes, I believe Josh Boyer called plays last year. Some of them. I also believe Brian Flores called some of the plays too. This Gerald Alexander thing sounds like to me, wife didn't want to leave Miami. Like, no, I don't want to end up in Cleveland. Like, it's just too nice down here. Like, I don't want to end up in the middle of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So I can't go for that. But the proof is in the pudding. We about to find out this year. I know that for sure. Right? So the scheme is the scheme. We don't know who was responsible for the 7-game losing streak or the play of the defense during the 7-game losing streak. But we're about to find out real quick because there's only one mouse in the house now. And if I'm being real with you, I still think like 5-yard Lee said it the best. Like everything we know now about Brian Flores, you think he would have let Josh Boyer call all the plays during that 7-game losing streak and say, all right, we lost 7 games, I'm taking over? You think Brian Flores would let that go for 7 games? Nah, I ain't buying it. So, not saying Josh Boyer didn't call any plays, but just like the tweet says, he called plays, defensive plays, every game last season. Sure you did, Brian. Sure you did, Josh.
That's a really good journalism trick, in the sense that you word it in a way which leaves a bit of ambiguity. Mm-hmm. That's how I pronounce the word correctly.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah. And yeah, like it's interesting how we both read the same thing and have 2 different takes on it. Now, unless someone goes back and asks Josh Boyer, clarify exactly what you said. Did you call some plays? Did you call all the plays? How's it going to work out? This is one of those things where we're just going to have to, I'm not going to say agree to disagree, because I don't think we kind of disagree. We disagree, but it's not one of those like, we have to discuss it over and over again. It's like, okay, cool. We have a different take on the same thing. And if anything, we can just tell Barry Jackson to do better, like word things better, or Josh Boyer, make more sense, I guess. But yeah, it's and it's this. I'm not going to give Josh Boyer a way out. If we see a regression from the defense this year, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's difficult to kind of maintain that ridiculous level of play. Like that amazing turnover streak we had, that's unprecedented. Like it was always going to end. And it's like we said before the start of last season, if the defense regresses, but the offense progresses and it gets to a level where, everything is not on the defense, then cool, fair enough. So we'll see, week 1, week 2, week 3, how things play out, I guess.
I think the word ambiguous should have multiple meanings.